Hello, fellow time travelers. My name is James, and I'm the Community and Education Outreach Specialist here for the Keweenaw Time Traveler team. In anticipation for our upcoming launch of the new Explore app, we're hosting a series of these lunchtime chats with members of our Keweenaw Time Traveler team. During this series, we'll be chatting about all the great work our team has been doing behind the scenes to develop some of the exciting new features that are going to be a part of this new release. Today, I'm really excited to be talking to Dr. Sarah Scarlett about the design charrettes we've been doing over the last couple of weeks. So, hi, Sarah. It's great to have you with us today. Would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself and your role within the team? I think you've been with us since like the very, very beginning, right?
Yeah, that's true. I actually started working on this project even before my contract as a faculty member even started. Yeah, so I'm an associate professor of history in the social sciences department, and even before right after I'd moved here and I knew I was going to be coming on faculty, I already knew Don Lafreniere, who had been on faculty for a year, and we knew we had these shared interests. And the deadline for this particular NEH, or National Endowment for the Humanities grant, was coming up. And so over the summer, before I even started, we sat down in a room, a floor below where you're sitting right now, and spent a week or so with a PhD student and put together the first draft for our first grant to the NEH, which we were really fortunate to get a number of months after that, which really kicked off this project. So yeah, since inception, I suppose, is how long I've been with the project. Yeah.
That's awesome. For me, it's just been really exciting to be a part of. So today we're going to be talking about design charrettes. Can you tell us a little bit about what those are and why they're really an important part of our plan as we work to develop this new app?
Yeah, of course. So the term design charrette, which is not familiar to everybody, it's a term that's used a lot in urban planning, but it refers to a concept that I think is really important to a lot of people in a lot of different fields and a lot of different sort of fields of practice. It basically means getting a group of people together to design a solution to a shared problem or challenge, I suppose. So they've been part of the Keweenaw Time Traveler approach since we were sitting in that room coming up with that first grant application, because the Keweenaw Time Traveler is planned to be accessible and usable and important and exciting for everybody, for a really broad range of people. And so at every kind of step of the way, as we've been developing it and designing it and working on programming for the public and for researchers, we always do these design charrettes where we get together sort of a cross section of users, I guess, a group of people, as I said, to help to experiment with the design that we have, to figure out the best solutions to a particular sort of challenge we're having. And so it's just really important way to get feedback from sort of the broad range of people who we hope will use it, to make sure that it's being designed and sort of conceived in a way that's going to help the most people down the road.
That's awesome. I think that's really important. So I know we've been conducting a whole series of these charrettes in preparation for the launch. In fact, we just completed one last week. Could you please tell us a little bit about these charrettes in particular that we've been doing? Maybe a little bit about the parts of the design we're testing and who we've been able to work with as community partners.
Yeah, so at this point in the process, we've been doing design charrettes to learn more about what kinds of instructions we need to provide for users. And so, I guess maybe I'll give you a for instance. we're trying to figure out what kinds of information people are going to need or want about the maps that they'll find in the Keweenaw Time Traveler, just for instance. So, when people use the Explore app, they get in there and they start moving around on maps and finding the data that's connected to these maps. And for most people who are using it are maybe familiar with the Keweenaw landscape. So what most people do is sort of find a place that's familiar to them, a building, their house, their favorite park, whatever it is. And they're going to start exploring. And inevitably, at some point, they're going to have questions about the maps that they're looking at. These are historical maps. They're not always going to show the same kinds of features on the landscape that we see today. That's the whole point. That's what's exciting. So people might have questions about that, and they'll probably have some questions about what they're seeing on the maps, because they're just seeing little parts of the maps. And so, what are these colors? What are the symbols? We all know maps have, usually you can go look at the legend in the corner, but these are, attached to the landscape, not to their original kind of map, context. So we know that people are going to end up having questions. So what we've been trying to learn about through these design charrettes is, when in the process do people end up having those questions? Like, where are they in the interface, and how can we most easily provide, a button that takes them to a web page with more information, and what kind of information do they need right off the bat? So we can write those web pages and we can put those buttons in the user interface. And so that's been really helpful. And the people that we've been working with, part of the idea, as I've been explaining this, is that we try to do design charrettes with kind of a broad cross section of the people that we hope to use the time traveler. So community members, whether, they could be community members who live here, or, members of our community who may not live here, people who have moved away or their grandparents grew up here. These are for researchers, whether they're here or again, elsewhere, can be for, young people and maybe not so young people, so we want to get a whole cross section. That has been a little more challenging with COVID. We would have been doing these for the last 3 years, at least 2 years, with this particular grant. And that's been really hard with COVID. So we have developed a way to do them on Zoom. And I think we, have to do it in slightly smaller groups than maybe would have been ideal, but we've been having a great time reaching out to, sort of people we know that use this, people we know would like to use it, and inviting them in. And people have been really gracious in coming in and spending an hour with us and telling us, what they like and what's working and what kind of more information they need. So.
Oh, that's wonderful. That is kind of one of the best parts about working on this project, is seeing all the people who are excited to see, what we're going to be able to come up with here. So as we get closer to the launch and we're seeing the app really begin to take shape here, is there a particular part of this app that you're really excited about, something that you'd like to share with us today?
It's sort of hard to pick something, but I guess the thing I'm most excited about is the new design, right? We've been working with Monty Consulting in Houghton, and their team have just created this beautiful space with, there's so much information. We knew this was a big design challenge. They knew it was a big design challenge. There's so much information. But the maps all kind of look different, and it's hard to bring those together visually, but they've done an amazing job, and it just looks so beautiful, probably especially in comparison to our first version, which we designed ourselves. So so having the new design, we hope, will really, really entice people and make them feel comfortable, and help them dive in and find all of the kind of information and all of the maps that are in there that we're really excited to have connected in new ways. And we're really excited to see what people do with that. And I think I think that the new design is so gorgeous, it's going to inspire a lot of people. So I'm excited about that.
Oh, Well, thanks, Sarah. Thanks for joining us. Fellow time travelers, I hope you enjoyed learning a little bit more about all the work that's been going on behind the scenes here with our Keweenaw Time Traveler team. To keep up to date on all the going-ons here, you can follow us at keweenawhistory.com or follow us on Facebook and Twitter. That's it from us now, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, James. Thanks, everybody.